Hey, can we give it up for worship one more time? Man, that was fun. Where y'all been, man? I miss y'all. It's been like 2 weeks. I feel like it's been a month. But we got a lot of new faces in the house tonight. So why don't we do this? Take 3 seconds, turn around, say hi to somebody, say, I'm glad you're here. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here at Valor Students, and we're grateful for you. If you're brand new here, I want to say thank you for spending some time with us. If you're watching online, thank you for spending some time with us. I think that we're going to keep this short, sweet, and to the point, but I want to say this to kind of preface the message. I always say preface, and Tasha makes fun of me because I'm country, and sometimes I don't do words good, but yeah, what she said. Give Miss Tasha some claps. But we're gonna be short, sweet, and to the point. But at the same time, I think that if you never catch anything else from any of these messages and all the time that you were students, I'd really love for you to listen tonight. I promise I won't take up a ton of time, but I really want you to catch the heart of this message. So we've been in this series called what? Anybody tell me? Is it just me or am I insanely loud? Miraculous, which is all about the miracles that Jesus performed, but not just that Jesus performed miracles, how those apply to our life. And this one's significant. Can I go ahead and get my verse up? Mark. That's not how it starts. Mark 25 through 34, but starting at 25. Hold on one second. So Jesus is just coming from a miracle. He's headed to another miracle at this point. Anybody know who Jairus is? I got a gift card for anybody. Tell me about Jairus. Jairus, the miracle that was performed for Jairus was one of the most important miracles because it was one of a couple singular moments that Jesus did this one specific thing. Anybody? Jairus had a daughter. She was really sick. You gonna try? I see you. Your hand up. I don't know. Give it a shot. You try?
I tried. His daughter died and he brought her back to life.
Boom, give him some claps. That's right. He asked Jesus, he said, my daughter is ill. Will you come and just touch my daughter and she'll be healed? And on the way, this happens, but then a little bit after this, the servants come and say, hey, don't stress it, she's dead. And Jesus said, no. Because nothing's over, it ain't good if Jesus is in it. If the story isn't good, then I promise it isn't over. But this is still not the first. All right. Okay. Can I get your phone for a second? Just pull up to Mark 25. Give me 1 second, y'all. I apologize. Thank you. All right. That's Samuel. That's all right. He might shoot a shot, but he ain't taking it down. All right. So Jesus went with him. Jesus was going with Jairus at this point. And all the people followed, crowding around him. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years. Touch your neighbor, say 12 years. With constant bleeding. She had suffered a great deal from many doctors, and over the years she had spent everything she had to pay them, but she had gotten no better. In fact, she had only gotten worse. Can I tell you that sometimes when you're in a hard situation in life, it might last a long time. It might last 12 years. For some people, it's lasted 20. She had heard about Jesus. Touch your neighbor, say, but Jesus. So she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe. And in some translations, she said that she thought, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. Because she'd heard about all the miracles that Jesus had done. If I could just touch the hem of his garment. I don't need to speak to him face to face. I don't need to hold hands with him. I don't need to have a conversation. I don't need a face-to-face blessing. I just need a peace to get the promise. Everybody say promise. I promise this will all kind of pull together here in just a second. If I can just touch his robe, I'll be healed. She did that. Immediately, the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she had been healed of her terrible condition. I'm gonna pause there for a second. Tasha said that maybe if we went through the whole thing and then went back a little bit, I'm not gonna chop it up too much. Is everybody with me so far on what's going on with this lady? She'd been suffering from bleeding. Now, we don't exactly know. What we assume is that it's a female type. So for 12 years, and what this meant in the Jewish culture, it meant that she was unclean. It meant that she couldn't be in the normal population. She couldn't, go through the marketplaces, all of that. She was supposed to stay outside of the town in a secluded place. So for 12 years, this woman had been an outcast from her own people. Anybody ever felt like you don't fit in anywhere? Like there ain't no place for you? Yeah, that's how she felt. And you might have felt like that for a year or two. Maybe you felt like that for most of your life. She felt that way for 12 years. There was no place for me. And she saw a glimmer of hope in Jesus. She saw a glimmer of hope in this rumor about a Messiah who had come and he was making the blind see and the lame walk and he was touching the lepers and they were cleansed. She saw a glimmer of hope. She was looking for a promise. The way that if you've been seeking Jesus for a little while, you're also seeking, in some ways, that promise. But this had been going on for 12 years. How many of you feel like after 12 years of misery, of physical pain and suffering, you would still be able to have hope? It says a lot about our character. Here's where it gets good. Jesus realized at once that healing power had gone out from him. So he turned around the crowd and asked, "Who touched my robe? Who touched my robe?" His disciples said to him, "Look at this crowd pressing around you. How can you ask who touched me?" Dude, there's like 1 million people here. How can you ask who touched you? Now, this is the God of the universe, and he's in human form. Do you think that he was truly wondering who touched him? I think he probably had an idea. But he kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the frightened woman, trembling at the realization of what had happened to her, because this issue for 12 years that no doctor could heal, that no amount of hoping and praying and wishing could heal, she just touched the hem of a robe, and now everything's different. In a second, everything's different. Then the frightened woman, trembling and at the realization of what had happened to her, came and fell to her knees. Everybody say on your knees. In front of him and told him what she had done. And he said to her, "Daughter, daughter." That's a proclamation, daughter. It's not, "Hey lady, hey girl," daughter, daughter. That's an ownership, that's mine. That belongs with me, to me. It's my daughter. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace, your suffering is over. What she was looking for was a promise. The reason why Jesus turned around to see her, to come to her face to face, is because she needed to see and know the promiser. She needed to know him. Not just that a promise had been fulfilled, that her pain and her suffering was over. We all want that, but sometimes we seek that without actually seeking who he is. We seek this idea, this concept, this thought process without seeking Jesus, the man, Jesus, God. It's kind of like in Exodus. Anybody know the stories of Exodus? What Exodus is all about? I got a gift card for anybody. Tell me what Exodus is all about. It's a book in the Bible. Anybody? I'll give you a hint. Let my people go. Okay. Moses and the Israelites. Give her some claps. Oh, get your ice cream. All right. Who can tell me where Moses was taking the Israelites? Promised land. That's the most common answer. So this isn't bad. Listen, she's right. Where did Moses tell Pharaoh that he was taking the Israelites? Where did he tell him to let me take them to? I got a gift card for if you can, go ahead. What is it? Not to Israel. Israel didn't even really exist yet. Where was he telling Pharaoh, I want to take my people to? Can I get Exodus up? Exodus 10. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that," everybody say so that, "they may worship me." Before they ever got a chance to walk into the promise, they needed to come and meet the promiser. They needed to come and meet with him. So before they did that, they needed to go through the desert. This wasn't an accident. They needed to go through the desert. First, they needed to go to the Red Sea, and they needed to know that there was a God that loved them so much, and it was truly for them so much that no matter how impossible, how ridiculous it seemed, he would part the waters for them. Then, when they got hungry and there was no food in sight and there was nothing, that there was a God that was so good and so merciful that sat on high and looked low that he would make manna for them. He would give them food from nothing. And then when they got thirsty and there wasn't enough water, he would make water come from a rock. That he, not a promise, not a thought, not a thought process, not an ideal, he would make all of these things possible for them because he loves you ridiculously, absurdly, bananas. But so often, especially when we're going through hard times. Anybody here ever go through hard times? I know I'm not the only one. Anybody ever gone through some impossible situations where you're like, I don't even know if I want to try this anymore. I don't even know if I want to do it anymore. I quit, I'm Audi 5000, I'm over it, and it's done. Anybody ever felt like you were bashing your head against a brick wall and there was no hope in sight? Yeah, that's it. But we want a promise. We're hoping that God will come in and he'll seal it. And we have friends, and maybe we have Christian friends, and maybe we have friends who are spiritual. And in that moment when you're baffled and you're so frustrated because you've been believing for so long and you've been hoping for so long and you've been hanging on to this promise for so long, and you don't need another Instagram post that says Jesus is good. You don't need another somebody to say all things work good for the people or for those who love me and are called according to my will. You don't need a stitched pillow on your grandma's couch that tells you who he is. You need him. You need him. I need to meet with him. I don't need to read another 14 verses out of this Bible. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't read your Bible, believe me, I'm gonna come back around to that. What I need is to sit down with my Father. I need to sit down with the same God who loved me so much that he climbed the hill of Calvary and he got up on a cross and he was beaten and he was whipped so that I'd be clean. So that no matter how much I had done and how far I'd fallen from grace, that I was still his. No matter how bad the situation was, he would reach right into the middle of it and he would pull me out, because he'll pull you out too, if you'll let him. But he doesn't just want you to want to get pulled out. He wants you to want to meet with him. And so sometimes we look at Christianity, we look at God, we look at all these thought processes in this Bible as it's just kind of a rule book. It's a guide, right? Like it's show you how to kind of like get through life, stuff like that. And that's true. If that was all that it was, we would just have the law. 613 rules, regulations, and ways to live. But to get to know him, you need 66 love letters. 66 love letters. 66 letters that are all about how much he loves you and all about these Israelites. And when you read through the Old Testament, man, it's tough because first you're frustrated at the Israelites, and then God kind of seems mean and he seems so angry, and like this can't be the same God that's in this New Testament because Jesus is so loving and merciful and kind, but this God's like smiting people, and these dudes just died because they touched the ark, and like I am so confused. But the whole thing is no matter how many times they mess up, no matter how many times, he still comes back, because it's about him and them. It's about him loving them enough. And we talk so much in church in our worship songs about how much we love God, but sometimes we miss how much God loves you, because that's what really changes you. That's what really causes a stir in your heart when you realize that that cross was yours, that sin was yours, that death was yours, that tomb was yours, and he took it all because he wanted you. Not what you could do for him, not what you might offer, not who you could become, but you and all your dirt and all your grime and all your frustration, all of your bad decisions. He wants you even in all of that. And so then we kind of face this other place where we've given our life to Jesus. We've been walking the walk and walking the walk. And then we have a bad week and we mess up and we're like, I can't even come to him. Not like this. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to talk to those people. I don't even want, and listen, I'm not immune. I've been through some seasons in my life when I was so frustrated, and flatly to say I was so frustrated at him because I was looking so hard for a promise that I thought I had, a promise that he said I would have. And he was saying, listen, you're gonna get the promise. I need you to meet with me, okay? I need you to sit down and talk to me. And I heard this, and I'm still trying to figure it out. There was a pastor, a really famous one, that said, pray until you can pray, and then pray until you can't pray. What I take this to mean is pray long enough that you get through all of that checklist stuff. God, thank you so much for my mom. God, thank you so much for my dad. Thank you so much for all the things that you do for me. Thank you for dinner. I'm not saying that you shouldn't thank God. I'm not saying you shouldn't enter his gates with thanksgiving. But we have to get through all of that stuff before we break into the real nitty gritty. Before we truly sit there vulnerable before God with our issues. I promise you, you don't have any new issues. The stuff that you're facing, the stuff that you've done, there's been a lot of people who have done the same thing, who have walked the same road, and God used them in powerful ways. Because it's not about our decisions. It's about who he is. It's about who he is and who he says you are. And this is the most miraculous thing of all the miracles, is that when he died and he was resurrected, now when God looks down at you from heaven, he doesn't see all your mistakes, all your brokenness, all of your anger, your hatred. He doesn't see any of that. He sees Jesus. Because now you're wrapped up in him. Nothing else matters. And if I can encourage you in anything for the rest of your life, is daily look for him. Don't look for an ideal. Don't look for a cool, quippy thing to say. Don't look for the most philosophical way that you can put it. Look for him in a very real relationship that's just with him. But I want to tell you who he is. Can I get Exodus 3 up? So this is Moses at the burning bush. And Moses is saying to God, like, okay, here God, you want me to go down to the Israelites? What if they say, if I go to say, hey, the God of your fathers, all that, hey, has sent us, and they say, well, who sent you? What do I tell them? What do I tell them? Who are you, really? Because our brains can't really comprehend who he is. He's outside of time, space, and matter. He's transcendent, but he's immanent at the same time. We're gonna cover that on a later date. That's something that everybody struggles with. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you were to say to the Israelites. I am. Everybody say, I am. Has sent me to you. That's all I want you to take away. It's him. He's a person. He's a God. He's a spirit. He walked the earth. And he's the creator of everything. 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 And in all of that, he made you absolutely specific. No one's even close to like you. They might look a little like you. Anybody got, oh, y'all are twins, right? How alike are y'all? Are you exactly alike about everything? You like all the same stuff? She's like, yes. She's like, no. She's like, girl, you don't know me. No. Listen, twins have a special connection. It's a really cool thing from God. Sometimes y'all can be in different states and you know when something's going on with the other one, but you're not the same. Your fingerprints aren't the same. Your irises aren't the same. Each of you has a different set of dreams and thought processes and hopes and needs. And God, who he is, wants to meet with you, and he wants to fulfill all of them. That doesn't mean that you're always gonna get a yes for everything you want. No good father or good mother is gonna say yes to you all the time. Otherwise, you'd all eat cake all day long, you end up like me. But he's gonna love you the way that you should be loved. He knows you better than anybody else, better than you're ever gonna know you, and he's always gonna do what's truly best for you. But that's all I want you to do. For this week, I want you to pray. And so now I'll leave you with this. I want you to pray until you can. Pray until you get through all of the things that you think you're supposed to say. And then I want you to tell him the real stuff. I want you to really get real. And you might be able to do this in 5 minutes. You might be able to do this in 3 hours. Everybody's different. And then I want you to pray until you have nothing else to say, until you can't, until I've given it all to him. I've laid it all out because I believe that this same God, the one that took 12 young boys and changed the world and saved nations, is good enough for me. The same God that led the Israelites out of slavery and brought them into tough positions and tougher places so that they could meet with him, so they could know who he really was before he took them to the promised land where it was beautiful, but there would still be struggle. But what he promises you is this: no matter what you're going through, no matter hell or high water, I'll be there. I'll be with you. I'm your ride or die. No matter what, I'm hanging in there. I won't leave you. I won't forsake you. I will love you until the very end. And when it's time to come home, I'll bring you home with me, because I got a place for you. I've been setting it up since before you were ever thought of. I had a room in my house for you. I had a place on my table for you, because I'm real and I love you. So I want you to pray that way. And then dust off that book or open that app on your phone. Read it. And you don't have to read it with any specific questions. Sometimes it's better if you don't. If you just clear your mind and say, God, tell me what you want me to know. Because it might not be what you're asking about. It might be something that's deeper and underlined that'll help you with the other thing. Do that and meet with him. See what happens. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling. Your heart can erupt. You've never felt love like that in your life. Let me pray for you. Father, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for this space. Thank you for every kid in the seat tonight. I ask that you would be over these small groups, that you would help everyone to be genuine and authentic and really lay it all out, God, that we might come alongside them, that we might pray for them and edify them. I ask you to be with all the small group leaders and hide them behind the cross so they might only speak your word. I'd ask that you would keep us safe for the rest of the night, and you would have everybody have an awesome week. We love you, Lord. We praise you. And all God's children said, amen.